Welcome to the Players Ball Podcast for AT Aliens by AT Aliens. I'm your host, Alex the Great. I'm joined by my co-host, my brother from another, MB, fresh off the boat, maybe for a day or two. Welcome back, stateside, man.
Appreciate it, man. Had a good time, but I am glad to be home.
Yeah. Cruises are fun for us for a set period of time.
Yeah, I think so it was a three day cruise or 3 nights, I guess. We left on Friday, returned home on Monday, and it was a good long weekend with the boys. If we had done a full like 7 day cruise or anything longer than that, I would want my significant other there. Like, I would
hmm
want a little bit of the family. I don't think I could do 7 days. They're my boys, they're my fraternity brothers. I love them to death, but I don't know if I could do 7 days with them without Sarah.
Yeah,
uh, it'd just be a little too much.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Mine was the 7 day with the family, but if there would have been an eighth day, throw me off the boat, man. Like it was fun, and it just kind of it didn't even drop off a cliff. It was just the perfect amount of time. And when we got back, I was definitely ready to get off the boat. But I did have my wife there, I had my kids, bunch of family. So now that was a good time. I like cruising.
Yeah, it's a great time, great value, tons to do. It's my choice if I'm gonna go spend some money on a vacation, unless I'm traveling overseas.
Mm,
I would prefer to do like the cruise. We did an all inclusive in Mexico for our 10-year anniversary 2 years ago,
yeah.
and it was a good time. But you know, if I could do it again, I would have chosen a cruise over just the all inclusive in Mexico.
Did you do the all inclusive package on the cruise?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it
I know the
was
food mostly is, but you can buy like the food, the restaurant packages and all that stuff.
no, we went cheap, and I didn't pay for really any package outside of the standard cruise pass. Actually, I take that back. I paid for Wi-Fi so I could communicate back home
Mm.
with Sarah, but other than that, I didn't pay for anything else.
That's cool, man. Well, I'm glad you made it back. You and the boys. No one fell off the boat. No, no helicopter rides. Those aren't good things on vacation. So, well, it wouldn't impromptu, unpaid helicopter rides are not good on vacation.
Yeah.
All right, man. Lots been going on in sports, man. I want to start off by just giving a little love to the Olympics. I have thoroughly been enjoying it. I've watched the Olympics every day. I turn it on when we come downstairs and while the kids are eating before we leave. They're both back in school as of today, so I didn't get to watch that much before. But when I got back, like I'll work and I'll just turn it on and just have it in the background. So I saw a couple of athletes, and it gave me this idea. I saw a clean and jerk competition um, in which a young man from Marietta, Georgia won. Hampton Morris, he won. And that led me down the road of seeing who else had won Olympic gold or Olympic medals, not just gold, right? Um, from the state of Georgia. So there have been a lot. So we won't name them all, but I just want to shout out Hampton Morris. I'll shout out Gabby Thomas. Um, and that's really it because I don't have the link up anymore. So there were a
uh,
lot of people, man. Shout out to all those people.
Brody Malone, he's a local from up in my northwest Georgia area. He got bronze, I believe. He's a gymnast. And then
Mhm.
not a Georgia native, but there were several UGA alum represented. Nick Fink, yeah, Fink is how his last name. He's
Yeah, thank
won
for swimming.
a gold and two silvers on the swim team. He swam swam at UGA. So shout out to Nick Fink representing the dogs and bringing home some medals from Peru.
Sweet Patty. We hope to add to that. Katie Moon was the other one that I saw. Katie Moon's a pole vaulter. She took home silver. And for those who didn't know, Gabby Thomas is a sprinter. She took home gold in the 400 meters. So shout out to all of them. We hope to have another Georgia representative, with Team USA basketball, men's basketball, and Ant Man. Um, but pivoting a little bit, sticking with the Olympics and with basketball, but getting off of the Georgia tip in that specific regard. This young man, I believe, is Australian. Um, Dyson Daniels. We picked up Dyson Daniels in a trade with the New Orleans Pelicans over the summer when we sent DeJounte that way. I didn't know him at all. Never heard of him. And I click on to one of the Olympic Games. The U.S. was playing Australia in a prelim, and I see him, and he's just flying all over the court, right? Doing good things, and we brought him up on one of the pods, so I'm really looking forward to him being a Hawk. But I saw an article today that was talking about how much praise he's getting from his teammates. Right? I guess they didn't know him either. But he's getting a lot of praise from his teammates and some of his Olympic competitors that like he's a real dog, right? He can really do it all. And when his offense gets going, that's something that people have slept on, right? He's supposed to be a 3-and-D kind of guy. And he was doing some great defense. But when his offense starts clicking, that he can pop off real quick. So I'm excited to see what he does out there with Ice Trader Gang. And what's my new second favorite player's name?
Jalen Johnson.
Nah, he got to stay on the court a little longer. The number one overall pick, Risha, Ricochet,
Zachariah.
Zachariah, Ricochet. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna see them out there together, man. Haven't heard a lot more about the Hawks. We had talked about, me believing that there were more moves to be made. I still think that you can't say it anymore because the baseball trade deadline is over.
Hey, so that may be true. The deadline may be passed, but that doesn't mean you can't get people off of waivers.
Yeah, very true. You can still do waiver
Um,
pickups,
Not that those are
which
going to be super, super meaningful, but they may happen with the way this team's going. So,
Trevor Bauer, where you at, big dog?
hey, he's on his way to achieving the triple crown in Mexico. Strikeouts, average. I think it's strikeouts, ERA, and I can't remember what the third stat line is, but he's well on his way to winning that. Maybe it's
Mm,
wins, strikeouts, and ERA.
that would
Um,
make sense. Yeah.
yeah, I'd sign him.
I mean, we need him now, right? Just instant transition. Happen faster than I want it. The Braves. Oh, we lost another big piece, man. He's on the IL. He's not done for the season, as far as I've read, but what was supposed to have just been a precautious removal. Like they took him out in one of his last starts. They, they pulled him, but now it's come out that he has some inflammation, and some soreness. What is it, elbow
No, it's forearm.
or forearm
And
soreness?
so, honestly, this isn't that big of a surprise to me. I guess when he went out, there were worries that it was going to be a lot more severe, and all the tests came back clean. So I guess everyone was like, "Oh, they came back clean. He'll make his next start." Well, I don't really ever think that was going to be the case,
Mm,
and I think the reason to move him to the IL is to open up the roster spot. And maybe one of the reasons why they waited to place him on the IL was they already had too many people on the IL. And so the timing just seems interesting because the date of his 15-day IL is backdated to the date that he started and was pulled, right? So
Hmm. Yeah.
he'll be able to return relatively soon as long as all the soreness, inflammation and stuff is gone and he's throwing the ball and doesn't have any discomfort. I think that's all is very much precautionary. But the timing aligned with the return of Max Fried, which did not go
Mm,
very well.
it did not.
But he started the season out kind of struggling, and before he went down, he was an all-star. So it may take him a start or two to get back into the swing of things. So I'm gonna wait and kind of hold a little bit of reservations to make an assessment on Max Fried until he has a little bit more time back from his stint on the IL.
Yeah. We like to end his Braves tenure on a bang with a bang, right? Some
Yeah,
playoff wins, maybe even a pennant. Who who
maybe
knows?
even a little bit of a World Series championship.
Yeah,
So,
man.
but yeah, the pitching staff is pretty rough at this moment. I think Charlie has been getting absolutely beat up. Chris Sale had an okay start tonight, but I think he's been giving up a little bit more runs than he was in the first half. And without Ronaldo Lopez, the you're left with a bunch of random guys making starts every fifth, sixth day, right? Just trying to help keep some arms from getting overworked. You've had Holmes make some starts. You've had Bryce Elder make some starts. Just the
Yeah.
last time I talked about Bryce Elder, he was coming off a great uh, win in Milwaukee against a division leader, a team that has a better record than us, a team that we happen to be playing right now at home. And he got another start against them and absolutely stunk hot garbage. And that's just been kind of the story with this team this year. It's just Jekyll and Hyde. When
Hmm.
when they're on, they're on, but when they're off, they suck. They did tonight break a 24 inning scoreless streak.
Yeah.
24 innings without scoring a run. That is mighty pathetic. And
I mean,
something
it's
that,
worse with the amount of runs they allowed in those last two games.
yeah.
7-0 and 10-0 is just that's nasty work.
Splitting two against the Marlins is not a good luck.
It's not.
And, um, it's troubling. I, I hate it because every time I feel like we're turning a corner and we start to get hot, then we go cold for a week. And not just cold, but like Antarctic, like frigid. And that's just not a recipe for success moving forward.
Or there's an injury bug, right? Like it's been a combination of those two things where yeah, we'll start to get hot and then we'll drop off a cliff, or we'll start to get hot and then somebody that we really need suffers an injury.
So I will say there is some relatively good news on the injury front. Michael Harris has started a rehab assignment. He seems to be close to returning, so that will be big for the outfield. It will be interesting to see who is the casualty. My assumption would be Adam Duvall.
Hmm.
Keep Jorge Soler out there and shelf Adam Duvall, but we'll have to wait and see what Snit does. And then the other one, we've kind of talked about it a little bit here and there, but Ian Anderson, who is coming back from Tommy John surgery last year, he's been pitching through the minors for the past monthish, and it looks like the chatter is more and more like we may be seeing him in the bigs pretty soon. I don't know what kind of role he'll have, whether he'll get a chance to start or if he'll be someone they look at bringing out of the bullpen. We'll just have to wait and see. But all signs point to him making his major late major league debut with this club this year pretty soon.
With the status of the rotation being what it is currently, what would you do? I mean, it sounds like I would go ahead and give him a shot at that
I
last spot.
mean, why not? You're not going to give it to Bryce Elder. Like you said, get him out of here.
Little
Um,
bum.
I was pretty done with Bryce Elder up until the last start in Milwaukee, and I was like, okay, maybe he got it together.
He
Um,
said sorry one time. He ran back like, okay, come on, Bryce. You're still part of the family.
yeah,
Get that guy out of here, man.
yeah. So on the morning show, my kids are back in school. They started last week, so I get to now catch clips of the morning show again as I drop them off at school. And one of the questions they had was, what will happen first? Bryce Elder gets another win, or the Falcons win?
Mm.
And my
They're
favorite
gonna win on
hosts.
Friday, right? Does preseason count? It's a regular season.
I don't think they specified. I think it was a regular season.
Mm.
Because it was they were talking about it being like a month. Like you have 30 days. Like within that window, who's gonna win a game? The Falcons or Bryce Elder?
Mm.
And pretty much everyone said the Falcons except for your boy Squid Billy,
My
who's
boy, that's your best friend.
which he was like it's going to be Bryce because Bryce is going to go back to Gwinnett and win in Gwinnett. So
That's a fair point.
he was playing with the semantics of the question, and he's probably right. And that's been the terrible thing about Bryce Elder is he's been an absolute stud for all intents and purposes at Gwinnett, and then comes up to the big show and just gets blasted. And it just shows you there's such a difference in talent gap between
Hmm.
even the top of the top minor league and the pros.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I don't want it. I want him to have success. I just think that should be somewhere else now.
Yeah. So
I'm tired of giving him a shot. We breezed on by. So Freed's first outing back, he got roughed up. He left some players on. He left some batters on base. And old Lukey Dookie went ahead and got those batters on across home plate in the worst of ways. So he's back to his old ways as well. We got to do some shaping up, man. I don't know how far if we're still in um the lead for the wild card.
the sad thing is we had closed the gap to 5 games with the Phillies, and then we just let the Marlins abuse us 2 games. And the last 2 nights in Atlanta against Milwaukee have been, pretty rough. Tonight, the last I saw,
Yeah.
it was 6-4 Milwaukee. We'll see if we're able to, you know, squeeze one out in the end, or it's 8-4 now in the bottom of the eighth,
Mm, going
and
the wrong way.
yeah, it's not a good look, and so I'm not feeling super confident or strong. I'm not feeling as good as I was last week on the Braves. That's for sure.
Yeah. We have a 1.5 game lead on the wild card. On the last spot. We're third.
Mm.
We're up 1.5 games on the Mets. We're down 1.5 games from the Diamondbacks, who now own the number one wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this team has been a Jekyll and Hyde. When they're good, but they seem to be bad more than they're good in the last several months. The crazy thing is the statistics are just weird. So you wouldn't have. I mean, it didn't feel this way, but in July, the Braves led the National League with home runs.
Did they really?
Yeah, it didn't feel that way.
It didn't.
Not with the wins and losses. I mean, they did. I think they achieved almost a 500 record. They were
Mm.
like 480 something, but they were hitting the ball, out of the park at least. I just think what they're doing is they're having multi home run games, and so the games that they win, they're scoring a decent amount of
Blowouts.
runs, but the games that they lose, they're not scoring at all in many cases. Tonight's a little different. Austin Riley did hit a monster home run, 2-run shot, but I don't know what the rest of the offenses looked like for those other. I know he contributed to the first run of the game, but I don't know if it was a home run or if it was just an RBI. I didn't see
Mm.
it, so
I don't know the stand. Just one more good thing outside of Austin Riley's home runs. And it was over the weekend, so who knows? 3 days is a lot of time in baseball. Um, Marcell Ozuna was in the race for the Triple Crown.
yeah, he's
I think he
still, I
was he's
believe.
top two in all three of those categories. Um, Shohei's a bad man, but for him to be up there, I want him to, that'd be a monster achievement for him.
So I had mentioned in our podcast last week that the Jorge Soler trade was interesting because he's a DH. He's DH'd all year, and we already
Right.
have a DH in Marcel, and it could possibly have been a insurance plan in case this offseason Marcel decided to move on. I wasn't sure at the time the stipulations that he had left in his contract. I knew there was an option available. Well, it is a club option, and it does look like the Braves are going to exercise that option so that he will remain a
Mm.
Brave. So that just kind of makes the move for Jorge Soler a little bit more puzzling, but at the same time, um,
Yeah.
flexibility is always beneficial. You know, having the ability to play him as a DH or put him in left field um, does give you some options. God forbid something happens to Marcel.
Hmm. Hey, I don't know what happened, but gee, the Aaron Judge, I know he was in the running with them, but now he's 10 home runs above well, 7 above Shohei and 9 above Marcell Ozuna. He must have had a heck of a week, man.
He's been hitting the leather off the ball, man. I feel like every time I look down at my phone, it's like Aaron Judge hits 475-foot blast. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not just hitting home runs; he's hitting absolute tanks.
Mhm. Yeah, he's up to 41.
Yeah.
Shohei and Anthony Santander. They're at 34 and Marcel's at 32. So yeah, a lot does change in a couple days.
Like you said, I mean, you said it best. In baseball, 3 days is a long time. That's why I feel so crazy. Like last week, saying what I said about the Braves and then feeling the way I do about them today. But in that span, they played 6, 7 games.
Yeah. And in two of those games we lost 17-0. That's just a terrible look, man.
Yeah.
Uh well, we'll pull for them to the end. We'll see where they end up. Um you had other injury news. You want to switch to the birds?
Yeah. We'll go ahead and I guess get this one out of the way. But today, Rondell Moore was carted off the field. He was put on a stretcher. He had an air cast on his knee, and they had his face covered. So it's not looking so great for Rondell Moore. Um,
Mm.
More than likely is going to be an ACL or a pretty severe lower body injury, Achilles. You know, I'm pretty sure it's the knee. He's being evaluated. He's being evaluated for further details, but it's not looking good. Unfortunately, he was listed as a second string wide receiver. He was getting a decent amount of reps with the ones today, so it's really unfortunate that he went down with that injury. I do think he was also in the running for one of the return positions, so he will be missed if he is out for the year. But I left on Friday, and unfortunately, there were some events that took place over the weekend that I was unable to participate in. But
Hmm.
you did, in my absence. You got to participate with your son. They held open practice at the Benz,
They did.
and you were in attendance. So, since I wasn't there, I want your full opinion. I want it all. Give me the deets.
So we moved a lot. $5 to get in, and the Benz has some of the best stadium pricing that I've ever experienced. So I'll tell you what Grayson ate. This kid ate a hot dog, half a bag of popcorn, a sizable bag too, like a full bucket of cotton candy. I had ice cream. He didn't have any ice cream. He just had like a spoon of my ice cream. Like he put some food away. That's all he really wanted to do. He just sat there. I let him hold my phone. He was taking pictures of stuff. Um, and he would ask questions periodically, like, "So what are they doing? Why do they have that trash can out there? What's that thing on that man's arm?" So when we were first sitting down, we sat on the defensive side of the ball, and they were doing just position drills. So you had two sets of D linemen. I think I was with the outside, the defensive end groups. They were on one side of the end zone, and on the other end side of the end zone were the interior defensive linemen. And they had some cool drills. Like they they had one drill for the defensive ends, like we had. I guess you're just trying to rip off the ball, and you had to touch the ground. So it was a circle of cones. The coach is in the middle, and they had to rip through, like rip off the line, and then get under, like around the circle, right? There's this other one that I got a video. It's pretty cool where they have their arm extended and they have the grip of somebody's jersey and they're pushing them off. What's my man from Norcross? Lorenzo
Lorenzo
Carter.
Carter.
Yeah, yeah. He was shoving the brakes off of somebody, and it was other players, other position players, other of their same position that they were shoving. I thought that was a cool drill. So for the individual, like the defensive line, between both of the defensive line groups were the cornerbacks. They were towards the middle of the field and in the center of the field, center and the middle. But on the other side of them, and they looked good. They were doing like tip drills and stuff like that, trying to get the ball hawks out. But right behind them was Kurt and Michael Penix, and they're throwing next to each other. And I sat there and I watched them for as long as they did it. They might have done that for 10, 15 minutes. Man, the throws were super crisp. I heard on the radio the next day they were saying that, which is super unfortunate, that um, if there was somebody that surprised them during the practices of how crisp and how fresh they looked, it was Rondell Moore. They were saying how good he looked at that Friday practice. So to have him out now, it sucks, man, because I thought he was about to be a big thing. So hopefully it's a small thing. It doesn't sound like it is, but speedy recovery to that man. So from the individual drills, me and Grayson get up, we get some food, and we go to another side of the stadium. We go to the opposite end zone, and that's when they start the scrimmages. So they did ones versus ones, ones versus twos, and they flipped that. Uh, the ones offense, cold as ice. The twos offense should not have looked as cold as ice against the ones defense as they did, but they looked very good. It was both encouraging and discouraging. On the one side, our offense looks like we might put up 28, 30 points a game, right? And I mean that. They looked really good. The plays looked good. We talked about Tyler Algier before we jumped on, right? He was working with the ones. Him and Bijan were out there together on a lot of plays because the Alabama running back, he came in with the twos. He was running for Michael Penix. I can't think of his name right now. Washington.
McClellan,
Was it McClellan? I think his name is Washington.
the Alabama running back.
Yeah. No?
Mm,
Is it McClellan?
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Um, so the guy I'm talking about, his name was Washington. So maybe that's someone we got it. I think maybe we traded for him or something. But he was working back there with Michael Penix, and they were just scoring touchdowns. So they started off on like the full field, and then they did some red zone drills where we moved to the other red zone in perfect time when they started doing red zone drills. They were scoring almost every play, right? So that gives me pause on our defense. I think we're gonna put up a lot of points. I don't know how good our defense is gonna be, and it was a lot of passing, right? Like Drake London was eating AJ Terrell for breakfast and dinner and lunch. He was just tearing him up left and right. He did not look good.
We'll
I didn't
say,
really realize who was on the other side of him, but
was there any? Were they allowed to do any kind of pressuring on the quarterback? Like, were they simulating sacks and stuff like that? Because I will say, in a scrimmage scenario where the quarterback's completely, you know,
untouchable.
non touchable, I feel like it is a disadvantage for your secondary.
That is a fair point. No,
But
I didn't see Kurt get hit.
I will say I did hear the same sentiment being echoed from different media personnel that while the offense looks superb, the defense looks non-existent.
Yeah.
um, so it'll be interesting to see. Maybe the offense is just that good that any defense is going to look like bums. But
Fingers crossed.
it
Um, I'm not as
also
optimistic.
it, it also it sucks because I'm gonna take an old adage, kind of corny saying, iron sharpens iron. But if the offense is playing against a inferior defense all the time, like, can you really truly gauge how great the offense is?
Hmm. I
Now,
don't know. So this is what I'll say. The cuts that Bijan and Tyler Algier were making look great. Those are fooling other teams for sure. The throws that both Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix were making on the money, like on the line, dropping dimes. Uh, Now the secondary did seem to have some struggles, so there wasn't a need for a whole bunch of spectacular catches. They were just right there in the pocket, pulled in, touchdown for the most part. Um, I will say one thing. I was worried about how Grady would come back. He looks sharp, looks fast, strong. So I was encouraged by that. Yeah, the rest of the defense, I don't know, man.
so we'll get our first kind of look. I know it's preseason, and the competition won't be all that great, but we'll still get to see the first live action against someone other than their
Yeah,
own this Friday when they kick off preseason against the Miami Dolphins. And they did go ahead and announce that Michael Penix will be a full participant, so that's good to
Yes,
see.
sir.
I
It
don't
is.
know who else on the offense on the ones. Like I don't know about Drake. I don't know about Kyle Pitts or Bijan or Tyler Algier. I don't know if they'll get run. I'm sure they will in some capacity, limited. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they look like. It will be the first time outside of some practice clips that I've seen um, to kind of give my first take evaluation of what they look like. I did look up the running backs, and there is not a Washington,
Casey Washington is a wide receiver.
and there's also a James Washington that's a wide receiver. Um,
One of those Washington fellas ran it in, so maybe it was a.
he could have been playing out
It
of
didn't look
position,
like an
right?
option. Yeah, but yeah, no, it was a good run.
Um, Jace McClellan is the running back from
Hmm.
Alabama. I have heard a lot, and I think I want to say it was Raheem pointed it out in his interview with the Pivot that
Hmm.
Tyler Algier is projected to be a huge like a huge part of what they're going to do offensively. Um, so I'm really interested to see how they roll Tyler Algier and what Bijan's role is. You know, I would love to see them on the field at the same time. I don't know what it
Yeah.
looks like, but I would love to see the both of them on the field together.
So we don't have a roster fullback. I think that's I saw this. Not I didn't see that we didn't have any fullback plays because I really couldn't see the detail like that. But I know Tyler Algier's number. I know Bijan's number. I was able to see on several instances they were in the game together. When they were talking about it on the radio, the tight end we brought in, Charlie Warner,
Mm-hmm.
he's playing some H back, right? So he's learning so many new things. But I think they're going to use him in that capacity. But if he's the only option, I was just looking at the roster. We have one fullback rostered, and he's out right now, Robert Burns. So they're going to have to feature them both, and that's going to be hard to defend. You can't cover both of them. It's just so much offensive talent that I feel like we're finally going to be able to utilize to get a better squeeze out of with Kurt back there because Kurt looked good too. He looked good. He's throwing some dimes, man. So I'm super excited.
Yeah. I'm excited for Kirk, and honestly, I'm excited to see an offensive scheme outside of Art Smith's. He
Hmm.
came in as like an offensive guru, and he never really showed that, right? Like it always felt like he was a one trick pony. He tried to get a little too cute, and he never really took advantage of what he had. He
Yeah,
had Drake, he had Kyle Pitts, he had Bijan, he had 1,000-yard rusher in Tyler Algier, and he had Cordero Patterson, and he was never able to figure out how to get the best out of all of those guys at one time.
right.
So,
Jonnu Smith was the only person who we saw, and shout out to Jonnu Smith. He had a great season last year, matching numbers to Cal Pitts. um, that was it seemed like the only guy that he schemed, like he intentionally schemed for.
yeah, I mean, in year one, it seemed like he schemed for Tyler Algier and Cordero Patterson.
Hmm.
And what was your was it Huntley, the other big power back?
Caleb
Um,
Huntley, maybe.
K- yeah, something like that. Caleb, it was definitely his first name. Um, but we were basically a run only offense because Marcus Mariota couldn't throw the ball more than 5 feet.
Hmm.
And when he did, he was
To
throwing.
our team, he
Yeah.
he could do it well. To it was as long as someone else in the opposite jersey was supposed to catch it, he did that perfectly.
Well, he also threw it. further when he was falling to the ground, throwing it backwards like a grenade.
Yeah. Between that and the fumbles, man, and Ritter too. He's not. He won't escape this. Neither one of those guys served us very well.
No, but I do think Ritter, in terms of being a quarterback, was better than Marcus Mariota by far. The problem was they instead of having when Marcus played, right, we were pretty much a run first and often team. They pounded the rock. We didn't do that with Ritter. We tried to be more dual threat, be able to run the ball and throw the ball, and
Hmm.
it didn't work out because Ritter wasn't very good at throwing the ball consistently.
His decision making was just terrible, and I attribute part of that to Marcus Mariota too. So he's double negative in my book.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about Michael Penix working with um, Captain Kirk
Mm.
and really having the opportunity without a whole lot of added stress of having to start and carry a franchise,
Yeah,
just being able to soak it all in and develop and to adjust to the speed of the game on his pace, not forced, right?
right. I mean, we're gonna see what shapes out. There's a lot of rookie quarterbacks who are gonna probably start day one.
I've heard JJ McCarthy's up in Minnesota scrubbing it up.
Yeah, I
I've
think they
heard
already announced their starter is not him.
I've heard Drake May has not been impressive in New England. The funny thing is, I saw this clip and it was a bunch of Tennessee guys. Which, if you like Tennessee, I'm sorry for you. Uh, but it was a bunch of Tennessee guys talking about this, and apparently they've been more impressed with Joe Milton in New England. And Joe Milton was the starting quarterback for Tennessee last year. Guy has all the tools. He can
Oh, the
throw,
balls.
yeah,
Mm,
he can throw the ball 90 miles an hour plus. He can throw it over 100 yards. Like, he has all the physical attributes,
yeah.
but he'll he just has never put it all together in a way that's made him consistently successful. He
Mm,
will overthrow targets. He'll make bad decisions. You know, typical. And so they've been really impressed with him in New England. And these Vols guys were just talking about how he must be the greatest practice quarterback of all time. He landed a job in Michigan, then lost the job because he couldn't play on Saturdays, and then he
mm,
transferred to Tennessee, won the job, then lost the job, and it wasn't until the guy who won it uh, graduated and got drafted that he got the job again, and basically just was good enough. He was very average at best, but there was all this hype around him because greatest practice QB of all time.
yeah. I mean, they used a top five pick on Drake May, so he had to be doing some spectacular practice work to leapfrog him in any fashion. I think Jacoby Brissett, if I'm remembering that right, is who's competing with Drake May for that starting job. But they say Jaden Daniels is going to start. They say your boy Caleb has been looking crazy good. Have you heard about that?
I have not. I
That
told you.
unimpressed face, boy.
No, I mean Caleb's supremely talented. I've never really been impressed by his attitude, and he
Mm,
tends to crumble under pressure. Like, as long as he's doing well, if he's not seeing adversity, he's a Heisman. He's a standout athlete, right? But in games where the other team's been able to get pressure on him, uh, created a couple turnovers, uh, gotten up on Caleb's team. In those
mm,
moments, for the most part, Caleb has crumbled instead of stepping up to the challenge. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in the NFL when he's up against a superior team. You know, does he step up to the challenge or does he crumble like we've seen him do in the past?
Yeah. The other quarterback who looks or who I've heard is looking like they'll be the starter is Mr. Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
So that's a let's pivot. There's a friend of ours, friend Group Demo asked us to talk about the top 100. I feel like quarterbacks usually run the number one spot in the NFL top 100. So I did some Googling. I wanted to see, all right, I mean, how many Falcons made the list? We got a good quarterback. We made three. We have three people.
Hmm. Can I guess who
74.
they are?
Yeah, yeah, you can.
I'm gonna guess Kirk Cousins,
Hmm.
top 100. I'm gonna guess Jesse Bates, top 100, and I'm gonna guess this because I'm gonna go Bijan. At first I was going to say AJ Terrell, but you know me, I think he's overrated.
Mm,
His stats have been propped up by the lack of talent surrounding him. But those are my
yeah.
three.
Um,
Bijan
no,
did Bijan did not make the top 100.
AJ Terrell did not either.
Hmm.
But I expected this person to make it. Chris Lindstrom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's rated like the best guard in the league. I expected him to be on there, but it was Kurt, um, Lindstrom, and Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates being the highest at 74.
Hmm.
Kurt was at 81, and Chris
Highest at
Lindstrom was at
74?
the highest for the
Hmm.
Falcons. Yeah,
Well, they just
Jesse.
made the list.
Oh
Huh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 74 was Jesse Bates, 81 was Kurt, and then Chris Lindstrom was 88. Now, Demo's point was that we got to take, or what I got from it is take this list with a grain of salt because they did some crazy stuff, right? Jamar Chase is, in my opinion, is second, at least he's top three wide receiver in the league.
He's
And my man
1A,
was
1B, right? With Justin.
with Tyreek.
Oh, disagree there.
Maybe we'll have to do a top
You
five
know,
wide receiver.
honestly, Tyreek has to be number one. Then 1A
He was
or
number one in the NFL
2A and 2B
100.
have to be Justin and Jamar, right?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Uh,
So, Jamar Chase was number 44 on the
whoa.
list, behind the likes of like Brock Purdy, um,
Who made this list?
CBS, I believe,
Drug
which,
test him.
they know a lot. They don't at all.
Drug test him.
It was CBS. So Tyreek took the number one spot.
Hmm.
Um, where would you think that Patty Mahomes is?
I feel like just on his accomplishments alone, he should be number one.
Hmm.
Based on this list, he's probably like 30.
He's not that far. He is number four.
Mm.
So it goes Tyreek, Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Patty Mahomes, and Miles Garrett close out the top five.
Miles Garrett,
Yeah, and
number
Miles
5.
Garrett, yeah, he's
I don't
over.
think he's worth a top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are a number of people who would agree with you. So let's just go through the rest of the 10. You have Chris Jones, who had Chris Jones is really good. I don't know if he's top 10. Um, Trent Williams, who many consider the best offensive lineman, let alone tackle in the league. He's 7. TJ Watt at 8. Travis Kelsey at 9, and Max Crosby at 10.
Hmm.
Travis Kelsey to me is should be a bit higher. Um,
Whoever made this list likes some big boys, huh?
like some big boys, bro. So But then it gets. So I know Fred Warner. I didn't know that he was going to be the 11th best player in the NFL. Right. Josh Allen is 12. CeeDee Lamb 13. George Kittle 14. Jalen Hurts, after the year that he had last year, there's no way this man should be 15. Sorry, Carlos, but also get over it. Dak Prescott 16, Micah Parsons 17. Then you finally have Justin Jefferson, who to me is
Better than 3/4 of the names you listed.
definitely better than Dak and Jalen Hurts, and CeeDee Lamb is really good too. I think he closes out
Don't get me
my top
wrong.
five
Like Fred Warner has got to be one of the best linebackers in the league.
linebackers. Yeah.
Max Crosby, one of the best defensive ends. Trent Williams, easily top tackle, right? Like those guys are in the top of their positions. I just don't know that I would put their positions that high up in that list, right? I mean, in terms of top 100, I'm thinking who is going to be the biggest game changer for a team? Like, who are you going to build a
Yeah.
franchise around? And
Who do you build a franchise around? That's exactly how I was thinking about it.
you're not, I mean, not too many places are going to build a franchise around uh, Fred Warner. I mean, let's just be real. That team
Hmm.
is built on the offensive side of the ball.
It certainly is. Then it gets weird. I don't know why Jamar Chase is the one that sticks out to me the most, just because he's 45, right? He's better than AJ Brown, who's 21. He's better than Amon St. Brown, who's 23. What was the next wide? He's better than Mike Evans, who's 26.
I'm surprised Mike Evans is still on the list. Like, I know, like,
He's better than Debo Samuels too, and I know Debo. He can do pretty much everything, but he's not on the field enough to be above Jamar Chase, in my opinion. Joe Burrow went down last year, and Jamar Chase still caught 100 balls. All
yeah.
right.
Where is Josh Allen on that list?
I think he was 12. He was
Okay.
in the top.
And Burrow, was he on there?
Nope.
Hmm.
Joey B wasn't on there.
I wonder what their criteria was then. It must be like a very recency bias type list and not looking at the body of work from each one of those players, right?
Oh, he's 39. I'm sorry. Joe Burrow's 39. There was a player. He didn't make the top 100. He was talking about his stats of how he was an all pro. He's all defense. Made the Pro Bowl. Didn't make the top 100, but Aaron Rodgers did after playing a quarter of football.
Okay, so that negates what I just said. Because it's
Yeah,
not,
Aaron Rodgers is on here somewhere.
which in his prime, I would say for sure Aaron Rodgers is a top 100 player, but not last year, like you said, played 4 snaps.
Yeah, but that it's really just that Jamar Chase that really grind my gears, man. Um, That's just nonsense. CBS does it again. Actually, this is NFL.com that I'm on, but I don't know who actually published the list because I did see that CBS covered it as well.
Yeah. Well, we should make our own,
We
publish
should
it,
make our own, man.
get out there.
I mean, just real quick, who are your top? Let's just do wide receivers.
I think we already kind of went through most of it, right? Like you got
Tyreek,
Tyreek, you got Jamar and Justin, um, AJ Brown and Amon Ra, Debo. They're up there.
CeeDee Lamb is
CeeDee Lamb has to be up there as well.
he's right behind the 2A 2B for me. He's number 4.
Yeah, in terms of his production last year, absolutely. AJ Brown is an absolute beast. Um,
He is.
and then
Devontae Adams is
Devon
really cool too.
Devontae, um, and what's his name? Smith.
Oh, Devontae
Devonta
Smith
Smith.
for the Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, those guys would probably all round out my top 10. Maybe Brandon Ayuk in there.
Man, it'd be nice to see him in with Rondale down. Well, we don't have the money for that. Never mind. Say it'd be nice to sign him, but we won't.
And then, the other, real big positions in football, quarterback, right? Like you got to go Patty Mahomes, probably
Lamar,
Lamar, Josh Allen in the top three.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrow,
He got
unfortunately,
hurt, but Joe Burrow is cold as ice, man.
he is cold as ice. He was having a little bit of a down year though before he got hurt, so I'm gonna need to see him come back from that injury and be the Macaulay Culkin cold killer that he was when he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's definitely, from what he's done in the past, shown that he can be a top five quarterback, top three, maybe even in the league. I still have Matt Stafford up there in the
Mm,
top 10 QBs.
okay.
Herbert's got to be in there.
I'm not putting Justin Herbert in there. Not top 10. I'm putting Dak in before him. I'm putting his classmate, um, Tua. I'm putting Tua before him. He he he's like the guy that you were describing from Tennessee, right? He's got all the arm talent in the world, but he just doesn't. It doesn't seem like he can put it all together.
Yeah, I don't know that they've ever put together a real great set of weapons for him though, right? Like he's had pretty decent wide receivers, but he hasn't had anyone like truly special.
Yeah, I mean Keenan Allen is he should be in the top 15. He's not top 10, top 15 conversation for wide receivers. He's really good. I think Mike Williams is a good player. He can go up and get it, right? He's a deep ball specialist. He's had pieces. He was throwing to Austin Eckler, right? He's had pieces. I'm not giving him that one. I can't remember who his tight end was, but he's he's a step above Trevor Lawrence in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, his Trevor Lawrence's stats aren't all that great. Uh,
No, no, they're not. I think that Trevor Lawrence is not the long-haired god that they say he is.
Sunshine.
He's yeah, Sunshine. He's shown that he can do some really nice things, but he doesn't seem like the full package to me.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the next coming of Peyton Manning, and
Hmm.
it hasn't really proved out that way yet. We'll see.
A terrible decision-making skills.
There's
It's like if
only
Ritter had, a better football ability, better
yeah.
arm talent, I should say.
The one that he's got a pretty small sample size. He's only started 1 year in this league, but Jordan Love has got to be up there.
Yeah, highest paid quarterback in the league.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, but that's just kind of the nature of the business, right? Like you set the bar,
Yeah.
and someone's gonna set it above you. I mean, you just keep setting a new target.
Hmm. It didn't used to be like that. Right? If you were highest paid, you were highest paid for like at least 2 3 years. Now you're highest paid for 1 year, and then you
If
have people
that,
who are complaining about your contract, kind of complaining about their contract, and trying to get a new deal in the middle of an old deal.
yeah, you may be the top paid player at your position for like a month and a half. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I feel like it was always that way for certain positions.
Mm.
But it does seem a little bit more out of control these days, but the salary cap and all of that stuff has ballooned year after year. So as long as the TV money keeps going up, like we're just
Yeah.
gonna keep seeing this. And with football, those contracts aren't fully guaranteed. So if you backload a deal, as long as you don't have crazy guaranteed money in it, it's all fictitious, anyways, right?
Yeah.
Like it may average $55 million a year, but in the long run, you'll only play like 3 out of a 5-year deal, and you won't make that 55 million a year.
That's what the race became last year. Um, was highest guaranteed money.
Yeah, because that's what really matters, right?
Yeah.
Who cares if I sign a 10-year, $500 million contract if I'm only going to play 1 year of it?
And it looks like that hasn't changed. Deshaun Watson, for his Cleveland contract, has the most guaranteed money. I mean, he had a fully guaranteed contract. Then Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, 200 million guaranteed for Trevor Lawrence. He just got that. And oh, maybe these aren't in order. Jordan Love got 220,
Yeah,
212, 212. Yeah, man.
I would love to see Trevor Lawrence on a different team with a better franchise,
Mm.
but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, man, that CBS doesn't know, or whoever posted that top 100 is on some, been drinking the bottle a little too much.
Las drogas.
But
Yeah.
yeah, man, we're right at our hour mark. So
Mhm.
with that, it's been another good conversation. Can't wait for this Friday and to see some Falcons action. And we are, I think, like 2 weeks away from the kickoff of college football. So football is
Yep.
back, baby.
Football's back.
So we should have a lot of really interesting content in the next few months as football gears back up. And we appreciate everyone listening. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment, let us know what you want us to cover. Give us your top 3 or top 5 NFL players. I would like to hear from you.
Yeah. Shout out Demo for the solid question. Thank you for contributing, my brother. So let's get more of that. Everything you said.
Yeah, man.
We'll catch you on the flip.
All right, man. Peace.